YouTube, what is good? Yo, does this clip have the worst lighting in the history of YouTube? Today, as promised, we are doing a photography behind the scenes video with a special camera. We're gonna be doing some street photography with the FujiFilm GFX 50S. That is a mouthful to say. I've almost said it wrong every time I've talked about it in today's video and the video I shot the other day. So I recently made a video with my first impressions about this camera. I actually just posted it from this office a few hours ago, took a little break, and now we're out doing some street photography with it. And this video is gonna be pretty simple. I'm gonna wear a GoPro on my head, gonna go out, shoot with it, explain the shots, explain what's going on, talk about my experiences, talk about why certain photos are working, why certain ones aren't, and then at the end, we'll kind of wrap it all up with my final thoughts on this. I am very excited though. This has been a fun camera so far. This shoot is gonna basically be my last shoot with it before I gotta give it back. So yeah, let's make the most out of it. Street photography with the FujiFilm GFX GoPro mode. Let's get it. So first and foremost, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up button on the video. It really helps out the channel and the video, and a lot of the photos in today's video will make their way over to my Instagram at EvanRamf. So if you want to see them, look at them more, you can head over there and zoom in, double tap, all that good stuff. So to get today started, we got a pretty deep walk. So my office is located kind of near Ponce City Market. We need to go all the way to Midtown. Now, instead of taking an Uber, instead of getting one of these terrible scooters, which I despise, we're gonna walk there. I got this Apple Watch about, I think, 2 weeks ago, so I could go running and listen to music, and I've been obsessed ever since with filling up the activity rings on it. By walking there, we're gonna go ahead and fill those up. So making our way to Midtown, going through Piedmont Park. It's a beautiful day, probably about a mile walk to get there. Didn't mind it at all, but now we are out in Midtown and we are looking for some photos. Now, interestingly enough, the first thing I find is this Porsche right here. I believe this is a 911 Carrera. Might be a little bit off on that, but I think I know. This one looks very dope. Love the blue color. It's funny, we saw a Porsche a little while back, and I made some photos of it, and they were terrible, but these came out real nice. They're inspired by my buddy Luke Beard on Instagram. Check him out. He is the founder of the website Exposure, if you've ever heard of it. He makes a lot of photos around the city where he'll find some cars, he'll do a photo set of them, and they're very interesting, and I've always been inspired by them. So I figured, hey, got a cool car, we got to start out with something, let's make this set, and I think it turned out very well. So moving on, this mural right here, it's a living. I've tried to photograph a lot, and there's always cars in front of it. It just so happened today there wasn't. I waited a little while for someone to walk in front of this scene, maybe do something, I don't know. Nothing happened. We're eventually going to come back to this location for a future photo shoot for sure, though. So as I'm walking up the street, I noticed this Greg Mike mural up here. Now, I know he painted this, but I didn't realize it was right here. I just haven't walked on this corner in quite some time. So I set up a few compositions to try and make a photo using it as a piece of the image. Not really working out too well. Try a few different things, a few different angles. I noticed this doorway here, which is casted off in a black shadow. I thought that could be something, so I frame it between these two walls, and I was hoping someone would walk through it. Unfortunately, no one did, and this is the best image we got as far as like motion or people interacting with the mural. So not the best. It's all good though. This is another location we're probably going to come back to in the future and use for something else. So I noticed those stairs up there. That's another thing we can come back to, but I decided to move on, go to a different part of the city. I'm looking for light and some shadows, something interesting. So right here, I noticed these construction workers, and I feel like it kind of has like a vibe. So I get my camera settings right, shooting off to the left so it doesn't look like I'm photographing them, to kind of keep everything discreet. Then I make this photo real quick. Not exactly what I had in mind. I was hoping for more of a story, more of a feel to the photos, and that one doesn't really do anything for me. So right here I noticed this really cool pattern on this building, but bail on the shot because down below, it's hard to see on the GoPro footage, there's a bunch of these signs that just, I don't know, they take away from the photo. So at this point I'm kind of struggling, decided to take a quick break, head into the old Whole Foods, grab myself a water because it is a hot one out in Atlanta today. And then I grabbed some of these Smart Sweets. Have y'all heard of these before? I've talked about them on the channel. They're basically sour gummies, but with no sugar, or only like 3 grams of sugar. Highly recommend if you're someone like me and you love candy, but you're trying not to eat as much. They're pretty good. So moving over to this MARTA station, there's all this great light right here, but this camera is so big, it's so not discreet. Pulling it out and trying to make a photo that utilizes light and getting close enough to a subject, even if they're not even going to be in the photo, even if it's just part of them or a silhouette, it is super difficult. So right here, I'm just messing around trying a few things. There's some light over to the left. Notice this woman waiting for a elevator or whatever. All those photos are terrible. I'm not even gonna show them to you. There's this stained glass right here, which I try to incorporate into the right side of this photo. Once again, terrible. I move across the street and notice this ivy and this stairwell. I've seen this before, never been able to make a great photo here. I made this image, which still not very great. You know, them walking across the street, they're kind of in this light, which looks good, but the composition's off. It's not right. So I turn around and I notice this straightforward tunnel here. Try to take advantage of the lead lines with the silhouettes crossing in front of this hallway. Once again, just not good. Stuff was not going my way today. I don't know. I think it was because I was using a new camera and I just didn't feel confident in it. I thought it was very large. I thought every person I tried to incorporate into a photo knew I was there, and that kind of distracts me. But I didn't give up. I just waited right here for a while, hoping someone would cross in front of this light. No one did. Tough day, but on my way back to the car, I didn't wear the GoPro. I said, all right, I'm just going to focus on making these photos and see what happens. And I was able to capture a few really good images. So right here, I got my camera set up. I noticed this wall with the black and the white, and I waited for a subject to cross in front of the photo and get this kind of juxtaposition between the tree and a person. Hopefully, in my mind, I was going from a Scarface movie cover type vibe where someone was hopefully wearing maybe a white suit or a black suit, and as they walked in between the two walls, half and half, I don't know, that was my vision. But the photo I ended up making, I think, came out really good. I like it. It's kind of a composition I wouldn't normally use, where I stack the left and the right side with two different things, but I like this one a lot. The city had a feeling to it. It was like a nostalgic feeling that I get sometimes when I'm out shooting, and I was trying to capture it. And I like this photo right here, guy on his smoke break. I love the lines and the colors, really nice. And this image right here, I was very upset about when I first made it because it's slightly blurry. And it's rare you see a guy on a supercross bike on the street, and he was in the perfect spot with this marquee. I picked up my camera and I moved quickly to the right to try to get the photo because obviously it was happening very quick. And this is one of the big drawbacks to this Fuji GFX for street photography. When these split-second moments happen, the camera is not fast enough to make it happen. So this photo is blurry because the camera was moving, but in hindsight, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world because I think the blurriness almost adds to the story of the image when you make it as a set with the other two photos I just showed you. So I just dropped off the camera. Sad to see that thing go. Yo, I can't lie. Yesterday was a rough day of street photography, but it worked out, and now I'm kind of conflicted. It's funny to me that no matter how many times I go out and make street photography, basically 80% of the time I leave saying, yo, that is extremely difficult. That was a challenge. I think that's why I keep coming back to it and why I enjoy it so much. It's never easy. The FujiFilm GFX 50S especially is not a street photography camera. It's too big. Even though it's fast, it's still a little bit slow, but when everything comes together and everything works out, you get beautiful, just rich color, amazing street photos. And that's why I'm conflicted. I saw a comment a while back that I found very interesting. It said medium format cameras belong on a tripod. And I think I agree with this statement, but it's kind of a tricky situation because while medium format has a lot of shortcomings when it comes to something like street photography, obviously the camera is not discreet. It's very hard to get close to your subject without them seeing you. And also the camera is not as fast with focusing. It's not as fast as traditional street photography cameras when it comes to refresh rate. Granted, the Fuji GFX is much faster than other medium format cameras, but these are weaknesses that are pretty crucial when it comes to street photography. But the big but in all this is if you can get over those shortcomings and you find yourself in the perfect situation where all the factors are lining up perfect, you're gonna get an amazing photograph. And that's what's weird and what's so tempting about these smaller medium format cameras, especially the GFX 50R, which I already talked about is a slimmer camera. So it's tricky and weird because in one sense, it seems like medium format would be terrible for street photography, and it is in a lot of ways, but then when everything works, it's not. It's kind of like if you're playing baseball and choose to bat in a more powerful stance, you're gonna hit more home runs, but you're also gonna strike out more. So all in all, I'm so happy that I made this video because I built up this idea of doing street photography with a medium format in my head for so long. I thought it would be perfect. I thought it was the perfect answer, when in reality, it could be the perfect answer for someone, but it's not for me. I highly recommend going out and renting a medium format GFX if you're interested in this camera, if that's why you're watching this video. Don't go out and buy one. Yes, it is, you know, a couple $100 you gotta spend to rent it, but that's not a lot compared to the over $5,000 it would cost to buy the camera and the lens itself. So for me, I don't think I'm gonna go with this medium format route yet, but I think the technology is gonna continue to get better, and I think it is the future of photography as they get the focus faster, as they just improve things on the camera. It's gonna be a beast. People are gonna be making these crazy high quality, high megapixel street photos like you would with any other camera right now, and you're gonna avoid those shortcomings. I just don't think the technology is there yet to use a camera like this for street photography, but hey, that's just me. That's why I encourage y'all to rent one if you're curious about it. Try it out for yourself, form your own opinions, because it could be perfect for you and perfect for what you shoot. But today's video was great. I love the way it came out. And one important message, takeaway point from a video like today: do not give up, keep grinding. We were out there shooting for probably an hour and a half, couldn't get any photos. I was down. I was just like, man, this video is gonna suck. I'm not getting any good images. And I just kept trying, kept at it. After I turned the camera off, made those images, got a photo set that I really was happy with, and I think it wrapped up the video well. So don't give up when you're out there. Keep grinding, try to get those photos if that is what you are going for. Y'all are the truth. Hopefully you got some inspiration from this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button for more photography videos. Leave a comment with any other cameras you might want to see me try out. I'm kind of experimenting with a lot of different things lately, trying to answer questions about what is out there. So yeah, feel free to let me know. Thank you all once again for watching. I'll see you next time.